Good morning, everybody. My name is Gaurav Shekhar. I'm the Program Director for the Graduate Business Analytics program here at UT Dallas. This morning, we're going to talk about the Business Analytics Flex program. And the format is going to be very simple. We'll spend the first 15 or 20 minutes talking about the program, the different application requirements, some of the things that you should be aware of. And then we'll straight away jump into your questions that you may have. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We have muted everybody just to make sure that nobody gets any audio feedback and you're able to hear everything properly, but we'll go through all the questions that are posted. Even before I talk about why business analytics at UT Dallas, the first question that comes to mind is why business analytics at all? Why do you want to spend your time on business analytics? Don't we have enough degrees out there, or don't we have enough skill sets out there? Then why is everybody so excited and warmed up about this area of analytics? You hear everybody talk about it, and there must be a reason around it. There must be something that is enamoring people. More than the enamor, more than the appeal, it's the need right now. Why? Because data is everywhere. Now, when I make that statement, I make that statement with a lot of caution. Why? Because if I look back, and if you look at the 70s and the 80s, there was the use of computers in small and medium businesses. It was not just something that was available only to the big organizations, but anybody and everybody could have a computer. In fact, PCs made way into the homes. So the computing needs started growing, and very rapidly they started growing. Now, the question that I would ask is, why do we create an application? Or why do we have any IT application or service? The simplest answer to that is to manage data. So data is the underlying factor, the underlying layer that has always been there, whose management begged that we analyze also the data that it is producing or using. Over a period of time, companies realized that they just cannot make decisions on hunch, and they need something more substantial, something more concrete, something that looks exactly like the future. I mean, wouldn't that be the best situation? That you're able to predict the future with 100% certainty. That might still be an ideal situation, but that's where everybody is wanting to go. And to do that, you really need to understand what your data is telling you. Data doesn't lie. But interpretation of data is also important, and interpretation in the way it is trying to give you some insight is also important. Misinterpretation can result into bad decision making. So when all these needs cropped up, it's not something that every employer, every person was equipped to do. So that's where the need of analytics, the need of programs like ours came into the picture. Whether you talk about tech companies, or you talk about real estate, healthcare, oil and natural gas, any industry, as of today, any industry uses computer systems, and the minute you have computers, you have data. The good thing is there's a huge need. The not so good thing from an industry standpoint, but it is good for us, is that there's a dearth of qualified professionals, and that's where you come in, because you are the one who's gaining that outlook, who's gaining those skills to go and talk to data and help somebody make decisions worth millions and millions of dollars. Why our program at UTD? Because we are very flexible. When I say that, flexible in terms of the duration of the program, flexible in terms of the order of the courses you want to take, flexible in terms of what courses you want to take. There could be two students with an entirely different set of courses. Flexibility in terms of the events you want to attend, flexibility in terms of the competitions you want to be part of. There are ample opportunities out there, but we let you decide. If you cannot decide, we help you decide. But the idea is that we want to make this journey very flexible for you. Engagement is important, and that's another theme for us. Whether you're inside the classroom or you're outside of it, there are a lot of activities you need to engage in. The more you engage in these activities, they help you build your profile, your persona, from all possible areas. And then finally, we are very focused on outcomes. When I say that we are focused on outcomes, it's important for us to gauge what you're doing in the program, what we are putting together for you, be it the events, be it recruiting events, competitions, whatever it is. Are you getting what you came for from these events or from the various programs that we run? And if they're not helping you, then we'll change them. Then we'll probably relook at them and see how we can make it more beneficial for you. But the idea is that we are very focused on what we do to ensure that it is in line with your needs. It's a 36 credit hour program, and there are 10 tracks in this. Now, in the 36 credits, 18 of them, which is 6 courses, each course is 3 credits, is the core classes. So irrespective of what track you choose, you will all have to go through those core. And in a moment, I will show you the curriculum as well. But one of the things that I love about the core classes is it gives you such a solid foundation in analytics that it doesn't matter which company, which organization you go to, you can very confidently work as an independent contributor. In fact, I believe that it doesn't matter what we teach you, unless we push you beyond that threshold of confidence, we have not done our job. And at the end of the day, let's be honest, in this world where so much of information is available on the internet, who says that all this is not available on the internet? But the breeding ground, the place in which you learn it makes a lot of difference. It makes a huge difference when you interact with other people in the class, when you work with them on projects, when you have an instructor who's very well versed with what they're teaching, it makes a lot of difference. And our goal at the end is not only to give you a degree, but give you a degree and make you a confident practitioner. That confidence is important. If that's missing, as I said, there's nothing else. Now, electives are there. You have to pick 6. I've got 10 tracks. Now, you don't have to go into the program and declare a track that you're part of the data science track or the healthcare analytics tracks. No, you just pick and choose courses. If you want to build something in the data science area, well, the data science track tells you, okay, these are the courses that will help you with data science related knowledge. It's a STEM designated program, which means that if your employer is looking for a STEM designated degree, definitely it satisfies that need. At the same time, if you're an international student and you're looking for the extended work benefits that come with your student visa at the moment, you get that because this program is STEM designated. We accept admits in all 3 terms, which is fall that starts in the 3rd week of August, spring that starts in the 2nd week of Jan, and then summer, which is the 3rd week of May. Another thing about us is we are the largest in the country. We're the largest business analytics program in the country. And being the largest has its own benefits. As I just told you, and I'm going to show it in a few minutes, the 6 electives that you need to pick up, 6 courses, the choices that you have is more than 70 courses, 70 courses. That cannot happen if we were a small program. If we were a small program, we would just have a few handful of courses that everybody would have to take. Despite our big numbers, our average starting salary hits about $100,000. That includes the base compensation, any first year signing bonuses, any first year bonuses, all that is about $100,000. Of course, based on experience, people who graduate from the program, they're hitting in the range of 250 to 300K. We have partnerships with dozens of companies, and these partnerships are just not, oh, we know each other on the email. We strongly work with one another. We work on research. We work on getting interns into these companies. We work on getting students placed full-time in these companies. We work on projects. We work on competitions. They come and do guest lectures in our classes. There are a lot of things that happen out there. And that's the reason why we have these partnerships, so that through this engagement, you, the student, can benefit. There's a high return on investment with this program. And what is this return on investment? By the way, UT Dallas as a university is rated #1 in the state of Texas, United States, for return on investment, which means let's say the entire degree was paid by an educational loan, UT Dallas students have the ability to pay back that loan the fastest. But within UT Dallas, the business analytics program really ranks right on the top in terms of the return on investment. We've had students pay off their education loans, which are in the range of approximately $50,000 in a couple of years. In a lot of cases, on average, I've seen about 2 to 3 years. Any banking institution will give you anywhere between 7 to 12 years, and for you to do that in 2 to 3 years is remarkable. And it's not like that these students don't have money to sustain themselves. They are living a comfortable life. If they're supporting their families, they are able to do that very well. And yet they are able to pay off their loans comfortably. And that's where the high return on investment thing comes in. And it really correlates very well with the starting salary part, because if you were not earning those big dollars, you would never be able to get this kind of return on investment. Almost 600 internships have been done in the last several years. This is an average. The average pay has been around 24 hours. We'll look at some of those numbers in a few minutes. There are 3 formats of this program: Flex, Cohort, and Online. The Flex program is the one which has all the 10 tracks. Most of the classes are face-to-face. A few of them sometimes are online. It's a self-paced program. It's a state-funded program, which means, let's say that you become a TA in the program, a teaching assistant. You will get $1,000 a month as stipend, but because you're a TA and let's say you're paying the out-of-state tuition, you will qualify for the in-state tuition rates. There is a 50% difference between both the rates. So there you go. You save a lot of tuition there. If you get a Dean's Excellence Scholarship, which is eligible for in-state tuition, the scholarship is only $1,000, but you get the ability to pay in-state tuition. And that's where the state funded part comes in, that wherever you're eligible, your tuition changes from out of state to in-state in case you fall in that bracket. But yes, 10 tracks, you have all the courses out there. Now we have 2 other programs that we carved out of the Flex program. One is the Cohort, which has the data science and analytics track. Now I'm not saying that Flex doesn't have those tracks. Flex has all the tracks, but Cohort is another program where we have the data science and analytics track. Again, it's face-to-face and online. Both formats are available. Most of the classes are face-to-face. A couple of them are online, and it's self-paced. There are scholarship options there as well. And then finally, the online program, which again has the data science and data engineering track, and 100% of the courses are online. It's especially designed for working professionals. Now, even though our regular deadline for spring 22 is over, we still are accepting applications. And we are still giving waivers now for GRE or GMAT. Now, this is not a blanket waiver. This is still dependent on your undergraduate degree. After spring of 22, it's not like that the waivers will go away. We have always given waivers. For example, if you did your undergrad at UT Dallas and have a 3.5, yes, you get a waiver there. If you did your undergrad from an AACSB institution with a 3.6 GPA, yes, you do get an automatic waiver. But if you want a waiver, we will evaluate your application on a case-to-case basis. However, if you want to apply for a scholarship, then we definitely would need a GRE or a GMAT. What are the application requirements? As I said, GRE, GMAT is the one thing that we need. If you want to request a waiver, then the email address is in front of you, jsom.gradvising@utdallas.edu. Once you have submitted your application, just send a 1-line email requesting the waiver. And we will look into your file, but this is a case-to-case thing. Transcripts are required. Unofficial ones will do until we make the decision, but once the decision is made, you're required to send us the official transcripts. Resume, your 1 letter of recommendation is needed. Now, this letter of recommendation can come from a former professor. It can come from a manager that has seen you in a supervisory capacity. And then a personal objective statement. A lot of times people ask, what would we like to look into this? Well, this is your statement, but let's say there was something you couldn't tell us through any of the other parts of the application, feel free to use this as that document to put those things in. But most importantly, what we want to look into is, why did you decide to do a business analytics degree and why UT Dallas? And then how will this degree factor into your future? We just want to make sure that you are aware of what you're getting into. And this helps us, this statement. Now, there are no application fee waivers. As a state institution, we cannot give them. However, if you are a UT Dallas alum or a current student who's planning to do this degree, that's when you get a waiver. Quickly looking at our internship numbers from last year, 500 internships, 360 employers. That is a phenomenal number of employers that worked with our students. And as you can see that the biggest pie there is IT-based services and companies, but the majority of the pie that you see is from places which is not IT, but definitely uses technology. But it just shows you the breadth of different industries in which our students work. For the year 2020, the last one, 2021, even though if I take an average of all times, our students have gone to all 50 states, the last 1 year, most of the states were covered by our students in terms of the places where they did an internship. The average salary, as I said, has been about $24, but last summer we saw a spike in it, and that being $26.35 an hour, with the max of $105 an hour. That's a huge number out there. Summer 2021, as you can see, has been very different from the rest of the places, the rest of the semesters that we've had. Now, this has been us telling you why our program, but I would want you, if you have a LinkedIn story, I would strongly recommend go to LinkedIn and look for hashtag UTDMSBA, and you will see a lot of first-time accounts of our students talking about internships, talking about what they've been doing in these different companies, what events have they been part of. All that is there in the stories that they are putting out, and that they recollect exactly what they did, what was the experience, what got them there, etc., etc. So these are first-hand accounts. These are unmoderated things that the students write themselves. So yes, definitely in terms of, you know, them being true. I mean, of course, this is the truest version because it directly comes from the student. Now, UT Dallas has a rich pool of organizations. More than 350 student organizations are there. About 70 of them are in the School of Management, and the ones that you can see on your screen are the ones where our students are very active. SAP Users Group, Salesforce, Project Management Club, Women in Technology, Toastmasters, Accounting Analytics, Intelligent Analytics, Envision, Cybersecurity, Marketing Analytics, you name it, we have it. These are the organizations which our students lead. But tomorrow, if you don't see an organization at UT Dallas, you can start your own. That's how all of these are started. These are an important component of your student life here because you get to do everything in these organizations yourself. Now, one of the best things that we offer apart from our degree programs is, so we have carved out these shorter certificate programs out of our degree programs, which means that if you complete these 3 or 4 courses and get an average 3.0, then you can get these additional graduate certificates as well. These are not just certifications, these are graduate certificates, like micro degrees that are issued by a state institution. And depending on your residency, it can be anywhere between $12,000 to $20,000. You get this for free because as a MSBA student, just by taking those courses, you're applying credits of that class towards a degree program as well as a certificate program. But yes, any questions that you may have, we are here to take those questions. And these are our direct email addresses, our phone numbers. But if you can start putting the questions in the chat, we'll take them one after the other. And before I get into the questions, I'd like to quickly go through our curriculum for a moment. So the one that I was talking about, and I'm going to put this link also in the chat. So the core classes that a student has to take. If you go to a company and you work as an analytics professional, there are 3 questions that you'll be asked. What happened, what will happen, and what do you recommend? What happened? Descriptive analytics. What will happen? Predictive analytics. And then what do you recommend? Prescriptive. So you get a sound understanding of all these different pillars of analytics. Now, on top of it, we have a foundational course in business analytics that helps you understand different models, algorithms that you will use as a business analytics professional, coupled with a course on databases, as well as applied econometrics. So the core classes gives you very, very solid footing in the industry. And then on top of it, you can lace it with these different electives. These are all our different tracks that have all these different courses. I mean, each track has 8 to 10 courses out with them. Data science, if you look at it, programming for data science, machine learning, natural language processing, big data, deep learning, RPA, data visualization, cloud analytics, cloud computing, AWS cloud solution architecture classes, SAP analytics, big data. I mean, there are umpteen number of choices for you to take. Again, all this list that I'm showing you, all these courses, all you have to do is just pick 6 from all of these different areas. The certificate part, just to highlight, is, at the moment, okay, I just need to mute the audience. Okay. So as you can see, the 4 courses, you complete them with an average 3.0 and you get the certificate. Now, one thing to note is the advanced statistics and business analytics with R, both of these are your core classes. So irrespective of the fact whether you do this certificate or not, you would have completed half of the degree, half of the certificate anyways, because of the degree program. All you have to do is in the electives, take these 2 courses and you'll be done. Now, come fall of 22, we are changing that a bit and we are expanding this certificate to give you more options. It will still be at 12 credits, but there'll be more courses that you can take to satisfy the requirement. So again, it will become more flexible. And somebody, I think, asked about the certificates. So let me just put that website. Just a moment, folks. All right, here you go. So all the different certificates that are available out there are listed here. You can either click on the tabs or the individual hyperlinks and you can get into those certificates. Okay. Let me take these questions here now. So all right, Chinmay. Official test scores are required for international students. Absolutely, they are. But if you, let's say you're applying and you want to just send your unofficial ones, that should be okay. That should be fine. And you know what? The best way to do this is, let me put the link in the chat so that everybody knows what our requirements are. Okay. All the requirements can be found at this link right here. Okay. Heather, what was the website? I just posted that, Heather, a few seconds ago. Okay, what is the average cohort age range? What is the class size? Well, again, I would say depending on our, first of all, the flex program is not cohort based. It's not the fixed set of people who will all be in the class at the same time. You know, in the fall, we have anywhere between 300 to 400 students. Not all of them sit in the same classes because we have multiple sections, and not all of them want to do the same classes. So again, that's where the flexibility comes in. But I would say that the students that come to the program, we have the average age is around 24 to 28 years. And then each section will have anywhere from 40 to 60 students, depending on what section it is. If it's a core class, then there's a possibility it will be closer to 60. If it's an elective, then anywhere from 30 to 40 students in a class. The least that we see for electives is 15 to 20 students. Aditya, are the electives open for all, or do they depend upon scores and core subjects? Well, they are open to all. You can take any course at any point of time. The only thing is that, yes, as a graduate student, you're required to be in good standing. If you're not in good standing, that doesn't stop you from taking courses. That might stop you from doing things like an internship. Well, by the way, an internship is mandatory in the program, and we try, it's a shared responsibility. This is something that we help you get. You know, you apply to companies, we also help you with resources, but that's the only thing that will be hurt in case you're not in good standing. As far as your grades are, it's not like that people with a better grade will be allowed to take electives, and if you don't have a certain grade, you won't. It's not like that. But what I would say is, if there's an advanced course that you're planning to take, you have to make sure that you meet the prerequisites before. What's the criteria for GRE waiver? So Avinash, again, this will be looked on a case-to-case basis, and we do look at your undergraduate degree. You look at how you have done there and kind of try to estimate that if you had to write the GRE, would you somewhere be in the range of acceptable scores? Now, remember, it has a downside for not submitting a GRE score that you cannot apply for a scholarship if you're an international student, especially because you are considered an out-of-state student, and the difference between out-of-state and in-state is about 2 times. Vishal, what kind of projects are done in the course marketing analytics project? What are the industry tools that are used for this course? Well, again, it depends on the kind of project that comes up. Some of the companies that come with the project, they might want help with SEO. And SEO might seem very simple sometimes to some people, but it isn't. Maybe it requires a very extensive analysis of their website. Maybe it requires analysis of, you know, the traffic data, heat maps, customer journeys, how people are funneling into their website. What are the marketing entry points like? Did they come to your website by a Google search? Did they come to your website by through an ad, etc., etc. There are some analytics tools that are used. There is some code that is written in R sometimes to analyze and do some descriptive analytics around the current data that's available. You know, for presentation of results, things like Tableau and all is also used. there are a lot of SEO related tools that the instructor can introduce based on what the requirements are. So again, it's not fixed as to, okay, we only have a particular set of tools that we'll be using, but it all depends on the problem statement and the need of the customer that comes in. One of the things I would recommend is if you look at the course and you see when you click on the hyperlink, if it's offered this semester, it'll open up who the instructor is. Feel free to directly engage with the instructor by sending them an email if you want to know more about a certain course. Folks, we will answer your questions. So if you copy and paste it again, it just adds another block for no reason. Submission of our undergraduate degree certificate for the admission that needs to be sent would be a photocopy of the degree surveys, or how does it? So Vivek, it has to be an attested copy. It could, a copy could be. Can I please request our attendees to not unmute themselves, because that causes everybody to hear a feedback. Okay, so going back to Vivek. It has to be a photocopy is okay, or howsoever your university will give it. In most of the cases, it is a copy, but it's an attested copy. So they validate that it's a real document. And once they attest it, they put it into an envelope, they seal the envelope, and they put stamps on that. That's acceptable. Another way is that our admissions team can also receive it on their email. If your undergraduate institution can send it from their official email address. But again, these documents need to be attested in either case, howsoever they are being sent. So Heather, this Flex program is a degree program, and within the degree program, we have all sorts of courses, including cybersecurity related courses. The cybersecurity program will be a separate program, but the courses that are listed in that program can be used in the MSBA Flex program as well. So you can be pursuing the MSBA Flex program and the cybersecurity certificate both at the same time. Yes, Priya, you can apply for a GRE GMAT waiver, but again, only until spring we are looking into the GRE GMAT waiver, keeping COVID in mind. After that, it'll be on a case-to-case basis. And we may not be granting them on the grounds of people having the inability to write their exam because of COVID. Because again, first of all, GRE is now available to be taken at home. So, that's a plus. But as I said, if you are aiming for a scholarship, we need a GRE or GMAT. Is there an application? No, Anusha. Unfortunately, we don't have that because we are a state institution. I know there are a lot of private institutions that do that, but being a state institution, we cannot give you an application fee waiver. Maria, when do you register for these classes? Well, for these classes, if you are already admitted and you have the admission, you have accepted it, a few weeks before the start of classes, we have opened up registration. So for spring of 22, it was open in the first week of November. For fall of 22, last year we did it somewhere in the start of June. So around that time, it will be allowed again, hopefully at that time. Yonho, I'm a student who will be entering the program this January. I would like to know how many classes are recommended for the first semester. Well, first of all, it all depends on your residency. If you are a domestic student, then the minimum number of courses you need to enter is 1. If you're an international student, you need to be 9 credits, which is 3 courses. Now, if you look at your admit letter, you will see that there are a few courses that may have been mandated. The MAS 6102, which is the professional development course. I'm sorry, I drew a blank there. The professional development course has to be taken in the first semester. It's a 1 credit course. It's not part of the 36 credits, but it's a 1 credit course. You can waive out of that course if you have had work experience in the United States for about 2 years. Or if you completed something in UT Dallas around the communications area, well, you can waive that out. However, that's one course that everybody has to do. Apart from that, if you have not had any calculus background, you may be asked to take the OPRE 6303 course as well, which is a foundation in quantitative business. And that course will be listed on your admit letter. So check out your admit letter. If it says that these two courses you have to take, then you'll have to get into those courses in the very first semester. These are all program prerequisites, and hence they don't count towards the 36 credits. However, they don't have to be done before you start the program. You can do them in the first semester. Apart from that, the first three courses that we generally recommend is the advanced statistics course, and these are all part of the core classes. So if you look at the catalog, the advanced statistics course, the database course, and BA with R, those three courses is what we recommend our students to take. But if you want to, if you don't have the necessity to take 9 credits, that means if you're a domestic student, you're not an international student, then you can just take 1 or 2 courses. There's no hard and fast rule. Is there a GRE TOEFL cutoff? So Ankita, there is a TOEFL cutoff. We need at least 80 on the internet-based test. GRE, there is no minimum that we specify. However, of course, the higher the score, the better it is. But we look at everything in your application holistically. A high GRE doesn't guarantee, a very high GRE doesn't guarantee an admit, and a low GRE doesn't mean reject. We look at every part of your application, and then we make a determination whether you should be granted an admission or not. Having said that, if you just go to the English proficiency requirement, and you can Google this, English proficiency requirement UT Dallas, the first link that comes up has a list of countries that if you completed your undergrad education from those countries, then you don't have to submit an English proficiency score. So some of the countries that we recently added are India, for example, and you don't need the English proficiency like TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. None of those need to be submitted. Aditya, I've reported my score right after GRE. How do I know if the university has received it? Well, once the university receives it on your to-do list, you will see that off. It will say that it has been received. So that's one way of checking. Now, remember, it may say on your ETS portal that something has been sent, but it takes about sometimes 1 to 2 weeks before it is received. So wait for UT Dallas to kind of check that off on the to-do list. It sometimes, as I said, can take 2 weeks. The best thing to do would be once you have submitted that score from that day, you'll wait for about 3 weeks. If you've not seen any change, then just reach out to admission@utdallas.edu. Priya, what's the total cost of the program? A good question. Now, the total cost of the program depends on a lot of different things. One is the number of credits that you take in a semester. The more credits you take in the flex program, your per hour credit rate goes down. And when I say that, let me in fact share my screen to show you an illustration here. So let me share my screen before I look for the tuition so that you can also see how it is seen. Tuition UT Dallas. Start with that. Go to the plans and rates. The variable rate. Now the difference between the variable and the guaranteed rate is the guaranteed rate starts at a slightly higher number than variable rate, but it stays the same until the end of your graduation. Variable rate starts at a lower number and increases by about 2% every year. But really, to people who are spending more than, I would say, 2 years, this will make any impact on them. Most of our students graduate within 3 to 4 long semesters, so the variable rate ends up being the better rate for them. But again, we will leave that decision to you. I'm just using the variable rate for an example. As you can see, let's say I'm going to look at a resident for 1 credit. You can see that if you're taking 1 credit on just an example, it's $1,651 for a credit. But when you look at 2 credits, it becomes $2,653, which means it's about $1,325 per credit hour. For 3 credits, it becomes about $1,100 per credit hour. So you see how the per credit hour rate goes down. And then the max is 12 credits. After that, let's say you take the 13th credit, that's free for you. There's no tuition after 12 credits. And the max you can enroll is 18 credits in a semester. Similarly, for international students, they are categorized as non-resident. Your 1 credit hour rate is $24.37. However, for 2 credits, it goes down to about $1,900 something. And it falls down all the way to 12 credits, after which you don't see anything out there. Now, if you get a TA-ship or a scholarship, and by the way, you cannot become a TA in the first semester. You'll have to be at UTD for 1 semester before you can start a TA-ship, but you can apply in the first semester for the second semester's TA-ship. But if you get, like, let's say, a scholarship that makes you eligible for in-state tuition, you can see that right from, and say you're taking 4 courses, your tuition reduces from $18,000 all the way to $9,000. So that's about 50% that you save there. So the total cost of the program, coming back to it, depends on the number of credits, the scholarship, TA-ship, all these things. The range, I would say, is approximately $40,000 to $65,000. What is the criteria for scholarship decision? Will the overall profile be considered, or is there any specific criteria for primary screening? So we start with a GRE or a GMAT score. That is for us to figure out what is the pool that we are looking at. And then after that, we look at your entire application, including your scholarship essay. We need your official GRE scores for a scholarship application. Absolutely. In fact, the deadlines that are there. So for fall 22, May 1st is the deadline. For spring 22, for any spring semester, it's October 1st. That's the deadline. And I would not recommend waiting until the deadline to send this, but your scholarship essay, your application, and your official GRE score should have been received by UT Dallas, not sent by you, but also received by UT Dallas by the deadline. And let's say you're going for a fall 22 scholarship, I would say the best time to send your scores is, January, February, early March. The earlier you send it, the better it is. Sometimes, let's say all the scholarships that are possible were all given out. Irrespective of how great your profile is, if all the scholarships are given out, then you don't stand a chance. So the earlier, the better. If Avinash, in case one gets a GRE waiver for admission, can he later give his GRE and apply for scholarship? Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. What is the difference between 0 credit internship and 1 credit internship? Well, for internships, you can assign at max 3 credits. Now you can take all 3 credits in 1 semester, or you can split those 3 credits across 3 semesters. 0 credit means that the first internship that you do, you can do it for a 0 credit, provided you have not met the program requirements. Let's say it's the first time you are getting into an internship / practicum experience. The first internship can be of 0 credits. And the reason why we do that is because since it's a mandate from the program, we don't want to force you to use any credits. However, it's up to you. Your 3 credits of internship, they come out of your electives bucket. If you want to use that for an internship, you can. And for each credit hour that you take in a semester for internship, you will have to work for at least 80 hours. Not per week. It's the entire duration of that internship in that semester. Aditya, is there any English test waiver? We just talked about that. You can look for English proficiency, UT Dallas, and there is a list of countries. If you did your undergrad from there, you can get a waiver. Is scholarship a rolling basis or it is given at the end? Can we apply for scholarship before we get an I-20? Absolutely. Both of them are separate things. You can start your I-20 as soon as you have your admit, send your financials and get your I-20, and scholarship is separate. They're not connected to one another. The difference is without the scholarship, if you're an international, of course, if you're getting an I-20, you're an international student. In the Flex program, the requirement without a scholarship is $51,000 US is what you have to show in funds, which could be your savings, your bank accounts, your sponsors' accounts, or your education loan. However, if you've got a scholarship before an I-20 was issued, then it's $36,000 that you have to show. Now, let's say you showed 51K and then you got a scholarship, just request for a new I-20 to be issued to you so that it can show that you have a scholarship. Maria, I'm a new student to entering the program in January. Does the program help me track my path and register for the classes? So Maria, I do remember that there's an email that you had sent me about this. If you have accepted admission, we can go ahead from there and send you the required information. There was a webinar conducted for our Spring 22 students I believe in October, where we talked about Spring 22 registrations. But if that has not happened, then I will share that link with you on the email that you have sent me. Okay. Shashank, is there any financial aid available? How much tuition fee it covers? So the scholarship, as I said, will give you $1,000 of tuition. But if you're an international student or an out-of-state student, you get the ability to pay in-state tuition. Apart from that, TA-ships can also be considered as financial support because that help you pay. You have your monthly stipend that you're getting on top of the in-state tuition. The other thing is there are lots of on-campus jobs that you can apply to from the very first semester, and you can start working from the very first week. That also helps with, in terms of supporting you. But apart from that, there are need-based scholarships that are sometimes put out by, let's say, our Office of Graduate Studies. For example, during COVID, there was $1,000 support that was available. There's also something called the Mars Scholarship that was, and you can find the details on the Office of Graduate Studies. Let me just quickly look for that link and put that out to you. So that can also help you for a one-time reward. Okay. All right, we did have that for the fall 21 semester, but not sure if they're doing it for the fall 22 as well. But if you just look for tuition scholarships UT Dallas, it takes you to a link which talks about all the possible scholarships. Now remember, a lot of them might not be available. That includes a lot of the Jindal School of Management scholarships that are not available to new students. They are available to continuing students, but that doesn't mean that new students cannot apply for scholarships. The Dean's Excellence Scholarship is actually our biggest scholarship, and we give out hundreds of them every semester. Can I know what tool is used for the RPA course? It's Appian. I have reported my GRE score to JSON, but selected department code as that's fine. Till the time the institution is UT Dallas, it'll come to us. Can MAS be waived if we have already if we are already a professional in the field? Yes, 2 years of US work experience should help you get that. Again, I'm going to put that link in the chat so that if you want to go for a waiver for this particular course, you can do that. Give me one moment. And it talks about all the criteria that are accepted for the waiver. Would we apply for the certificate and flex separately? Yes, you will have to. What I would recommend is right now, just get into the flex program. And once you're here as a current student, then in one of the semesters, you can apply for the certificate program as well. I'm a new student, received I-20 on November 11th and searching for a visa slot. If I did not get visa until January 17th, what are the options? Well, again, after January 17th, which is a week after the start of classes, I mean, even after January 10th, we cannot guarantee whether the Department of Homeland Security will not stop you at the borders. They have been okay with our students arriving late, by a week or a few days, but our letter for late arrival is not a guarantee that you'll be allowed to come into the United States. However, if you're getting delayed way beyond Jan 17th, then I would say that you can possibly think about deferring. And deferrals need to be sent before the start of the semester. So by that time, you should know what your situation is, whether you'll be able to arrive or not. But if you need a late arrival letter, just send me an email directly and I will help you with that. Zhu Chao Zhang, I've sent my GRE scores, fulfill all the requirements. Now I have graduate committee review on my application. How long do I need to wait? Well, after the graduate committee review is done, I think it takes about 5 to 7 business days for you to receive your decision. Can I transfer credits from India? I've done full-time MBA and studied some courses. They can be transferred, but I would recommend is reaching out to the advising office. We have a form to fill out for those credits. The maximum we can take is 9 credits. And we can evaluate which ones will apply to what courses. Now, make sure that there is a mapping between our curriculum and the courses that you're trying to move. And the advising office can help you with what is accepted and what is not. Do we need to send official? Not the official. For admit, we don't need anything official. Your unofficial transcripts scores will do, but if you're going for a scholarship, it has to be official. Welcome, Ankita. Will there be interview? No, there will not be an interview. Admissions. Snehal, can having work experience increase chances? Absolutely. As I said, we look at every possible pieces in the application to make a determination. Heather, can Muan 6009 business analytics be waived if you are in? No, you have to do one of the internships. Now, internships doesn't mean that you have to leave if you're working and you have to leave your current job and do it. We can also always work out a special project that you can do at your current job and give you credit for an internship. In fact, Buan 6009 is a 0 credit internship, which means you don't have to pay tuition, but still by doing work that can be counted for this particular class, you get the credit for the internship that is the requirement of the program. What is considered full-time for graduate program? It's 9 credits. Can we apply for graduate certificate in applied machine learning after the first semester and the courses taken in the first semester? Will they be considered? Absolutely. So for any course, the subjects that you have taken, they have to be taken within the 72-month window. So let's say in your first semester, you took a couple of courses from a certificate program. In the second semester, you took another set of courses. In the third semester, you're like, oh, I've not applied to this program. I need to apply. So you applied and you got into that program. But still, whatever is in the 72-month window, when you are graduating from the certificate program, we will consider that as part of the program. So you are good, even if you do it later. If a student does not have a GRE GMAT, will the student be eligible? Well, for TA-ship, we don't need GRE GMAT. We need your current scores, current UTD GPA. We don't look at it. Heather, I answered that question. What is the approximate I-20 cost for both Flex and Cohort MSBs? Flex is without scholarship, 51,000. Cohort is about 66,000 change. What is the duration of the Flex program? Does it usually run longer than the Cohort's option? Well, again, these programs are self-paced. The minimum that in which you can complete the flex program is 9 months. Minimum. The maximum for any degree at UT Dallas is 72 months. Most of our students end up doing it in 17 to 22 months, which is 3 to 4 long semesters. Is there any limit on the number of courses to be taken per semester? What's the recommended number? I would say 3 to 4 courses is good, because you need a lot of time to engage in activities, network, look for jobs, etc. The maximum limit is 18 credits. Is the scholarship essay part of the application package? It's part of the scholarship application, but it's not part of the flex application package. It's a separate application. If you need to apply for a flex scholarship, it's a separate application. Avinash, on an average, how much would the monthly expenses be? Well, again, Avinash, this is it's a lifestyle related question. If your lifestyle demands more money, well, then that is what it is. But I would say between $600 to $1,000 is what per month looks like a good range. I'm trying to search GRE codes for UTD and GRE, not showing up. The code is, just look for 6897. Does an on-campus job non-GA make one eligible for? No, an on-campus job is an hourly student worker. Where do we apply for an on-campus job? Can you elaborate more? So there is a portal called Handshake that you get access to once you're enrolled at UT Dallas, enrolled in courses. You make a profile, it gets activated. The kind of jobs that we have is, we have dining job, library, a testing center, parking, police. We have student worker positions in different departments, front desks, labs, etc. Okay, we are at the top of the hour, so I'm trying to just cover as many as possible. Shivani, can we pay the tuition fees in installments? Absolutely. We do have different options through which you can split the payment. There might be a $100 fee for one of those options to get that installment set up, but then you can pay in multiple goes. You don't have to pay in one shot. What is the minimum GPA requirements? Can we still apply if the GPA is below the minimum requirement? Well, we look at a 3.0, but if you have something which is lower than that, still apply. As I said, we look at every part of your application. What is the shortest duration in which the cohort MSBA can be completed? Now, again, this is something that I would recommend you talk to your program director if you're in the cohort program. But again, it is self-paced. Reach out to msba-cohort@utdallas.edu to ask what is the shortest duration. Technically, flex and cohort kind of tend to be, they can be paced similarly, but then the amount of options that you have in the flex program are way more than cohort. So that makes it easier for you to substitute a course for another, maybe if in case it's not available. In the cohort, because there are limited offerings, you may not be able to substitute a course for something else. So I would say the best person to talk about that would be Dr. Heffley, who's the program director for MSBA cohort. Can courses from different tracks be taken as part of the credits for electives, or do we need to select courses from one track? Oh, you can take one track. So there are 6 electives, right? You can take one course each from 6 tracks, or you can take all 6 from one. We don't care. It doesn't matter. It's up to you how you want to learn. If I want to take 4, Vishal, if I want to take 4 electives from data science track and 2 engineering, yeah, that can be done. What courses do I recommend? Now, this is a very open-ended question, because this will depend on what you want to do, what kind of career you want to build in, what is your ease, what are the kind of experiences you already have, what are the skill sets you want to build. After analyzing all of that, we can go and decide what courses one should take. Just asking and again, this is a recommendation. When you ask somebody what courses they recommend, see, their recommendation is based on their choices, their interest. That might not be your interest. So always tell the person what your interest is, or what kind of career or roles you want to get into, and then let that be the starting point from where you discuss, okay, these are the courses that we want to take. Okay, with that question, we are at the bottom of our questions. Oh, we have one more question that just popped in. Does more than one letter of recommendation benefit? We just need one. So if you have put more, well, it does help us know more about you, but it's not like that it'll suddenly a reject will become an acceptance, because generally we are not at that stage with our applicants that more letters will end up with a better chance of acceptance. But in case you have more people vouching for you, why not go ahead for it? Apurva, the wait lists will shift as we get closer to the payment deadline, and we might see some seats getting added. It's too early to say whether there'll be a new section or not, but keep an eye. Anybody who's trying to get courses for Spring 22, we will have you enrolled in something or the other. Application fee for international students is $50 for the Flex program, and there will be a $50 foreign credentials evaluation fee as well. All right, folks, the recording of this webinar would be sent to you all over the email, and we'll put this on our Jindal School of Management YouTube page as well. But thank you so much for joining us this morning and for all your questions. And we're glad that we could talk to you. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.